Okay, so we're going to be talking about this road just off the Via Sacra, that main artery that passes through the Forum. And it's pristine and it's magnificent and it's in the shadow of the Basilica of Maxentius. So, what's the name of the road? We don't actually know the name of the road, but something that's sort of stuck in the scholarship is Vicus ad Carinas, because it leads off in the direction of the western portion of the Carinae, a neighborhood, we'll talk about it, that slopes down into the Subura, which is behind the Forum of Augustus and is famous for the slums and so forth of the Republican and imperial times. But what you can already see from this image, this is Lanciani's plan, is that the road is so important that when the Basilica of Maxentius is finally constructed, it literally goes on top of the road, but the road we will see is preserved. So we're going to talk about the Roman Forum for a second, the roads leading into the Forum. This is one of them, and the opening of the site for a new project, and then we'll take a walk. All right, so here's the plan that's on site. You can see Vicus ad Carinas, so the superintendency here, Parco Colosseo, was following the scholarship. You can see on one side there's the so-called Temple of Romulus, which is actually part of the Forum of Peace, built by Vespasian. We'll catch a part of that. You can see how the road passes underneath the later Basilica of Maxentius, and then there's a structure called Horia Piperitaria that I will be talking about in a future lecture, or actually I think I already gave a lecture on that. But nevertheless, it is a new archaeological site open to the public, and on that occasion of the spice markets, you have the road also open to the public on a daily basis. There's the Via Sacra, the main route that goes through the Roman Forum area. And then it says Strada. That's another Republican road that we know once existed in the vicinity of the Forum. Okay, so let's take a look at Lanciani's plan and talk about the roads leading into the Forum. The Forum is, if you're not familiar with it, but I think most of the audience is, it is the economic center, the social center, the commercial center, and one of the religious centers of the city, but it is the heart of government with the Curia. We just did a video on the Curia Julia and its history on Ancient Rome Live. Just go type in Ancient Rome Live, YouTube, and you'll get that great video. And you can see one road, the Argoletum, is going to be eventually transformed with the Forum Transitorium of Nerva. That's going to be a major artery leading into the Forum area. And you can see here the arrows pointing to that route. And it's going to come right along to the side of the Curia Julia. There it says Senatus on Lanciani's plan. We have many other roads. We have the Argoletum Street then that is monumentalized. It's the name of the original road for the Forum Transitorium. But coming from the north is a road that, some want to call the Clivus Argentarius. It goes right past the prison or the Carcere, which we gave a talk on this year. To the left, you see other entry points coming from various destinations. So the first one is coming off actually from the Capitoline Hill, and that's the Clivus Capitolinus. The next one, it says Vicus Jugarius, and that's coming away from the port in the Forum Boarium. So you're coming from the riverside. The next one, which is on the other side of the Basilica Julia, is the Vicus Tuscus, which then enters into the Forum area between the Basilica Julia and the Temple of the Castors. So these are the principal routes that lead people into the Roman Forum. Of course, the Via Sacra is the sacred way. It goes around the Forum Piazza on both sides, but it's the one that's going to bring you from the valley of the Colosseum. It goes up and it goes down, So the high points by the Arch of Titus drops down past the Basilica Nova or the Basilica of Maxentius, down past the Temple of Romulus, an entry point into the Forum of Peace, and then the Temple of Antoninus Pius and Faustina. So that's our Panathic Way version of Athens. In Rome, they called it the Via Sacra. And our road is off the Via Sacra. So a big neighborhood outside the Forum is Carinae. And Carinae, it just means the keels. Now, we know from other lectures that the rostra, the speaker's platform, is named after the beaks of ships. Well, the Carinae, the beaks of ships were cut off from the defeated foes and then used to decorate the speaker's platform. So they called it the rostra of the beaks. This one, instead, looked some features of buildings together look like the keels of ships. So it gave the name to the region, to the neighborhood, to this portion of the Esquiline Hill, Carinae. And so in some of the ancient sources, we do have that citation of the Vicus ad Carinas, the little road, not a via, but a smaller road, a vicus, that leads to the Carina. And there's also a famous temple nearby of Tellus. Those are the two great features of this portion of the Esquiline Hill. And here is the road. So maybe, if we really want to get into the scholarship, there are other hypotheses of the name of this, but this is the one that it's the, traditionally assigned to an otherwise unknown road. The name is stuck. We're going to be exploring this road, but you can see it goes up to the Carinae and it starts or it ends at the Via Sacra. So it's a big deal road, such a big deal that getting into the 4th century with the construction finally of the Basilica of Maxentius, renamed the Basilica Nova by Constantine, with the apse on the left added by Constantine, and that's where that magnificent colossal statue is found, now in the Capitoline Museums. It was such an important artery that they actually have to create a tunnel around that corner so that the route is not blocked off. We will now take this route. Again, just to underline how old and windy this road is, dependent upon whatever situation of the Republican times. We know this is the situation in imperial times. On one side, the Forum of Peace, or the Templum Pacis. On the other side, there was the Horda Piperataria, a spice market warehouse in the time of Domitian, so the younger son of Vespasian, who built the Forum of Peace. And then on top of it, after a fire, you have the construction of the Basilica of Maxentius. Okay, we can take a walk. So the road in front of us is the Via Sacra. And over in the distance, the remains of the Domus Tiberiana. We have a video on the Domus Tiberiana on our YouTube channel, also on my own YouTube channel. So you can check out the Domus Tiberiana, which was recently opened. We pivot away from the Via Sacra, and we are now on the Vicus ad Carinas, which opened up to the public, I think, in December or something, so it was cold. A beautiful sunny day. There's the hulking ruins of the Basilica of Maxentius on the right, and on the left is the outer wall of the Forum of Peace, and we're going to be taking a walk straight through. Okay, so here we go. We see Basilica of Maxentius to the right. That's going to pertain underneath to the Horda Piperataria. You go up those modern staircases to get to that archaeological site. You get in with a special ticket. I'll take you there later in another video. Here is that magnificent outer wall of the Forum of Peace. And you can see as we're progressing, we're at that outermost corner of the Basilica of Maxentius. There's a big part of the vaulting that has collapsed and has been left by the excavators. We're literally now passing through on an elevated walkway over the original ground level. Here are some burials of people stuck in the wall there in the medieval times. And we've now pushed through. We've left behind the Basilica of Maxentius. We're on that original ancient road, the Vicus ad Carinas, that just continues through to the alleyway across the street and up the way. We're pivoting around. And we're going to see the exterior now of the Basilica of Maxentius, which would have been, the windows are filled in with glass. There's the church bells of Cosimo Damiano, which are built in the remains of the Forum of Peace. And one more time. Here's an incredible opportunity. It's a new part of the Forum that you can explore. Look at that gigantic firewall for the Temple of Peace, passing right underneath a portion of the Basilica of Maxentius. So this is a road that always remains open and viable. Got the road here on the other side that is preserved. And where are we? At this point, we're directly behind the Forum of Peace. The Forum of Peace that is going to be magnificently reconstructed under the Severins, and we still have so much of the marble paneling still preserved, even some collapsed columns from an earthquake in the shadow of a much later Basilica of Maxentius. Thank you so much for subscribing to Ancient Rome Live. We take you behind the scenes, take you to exhibitions, ongoing research. We love sharing antiquity. We love sharing the Roman world, Rome and environs throughout the Mediterranean. See you somewhere in antiquity.